Hello, everybody, and welcome to Culture of Gaming's Power Up Podcast, Episode 8. I'm your host, Taylor, and I am joined by John.
Hi.
Bryson.
Hello, guys.
And, of course, Andrew.
Hi, I'm an avatar today.
Yeah, so our resident kangaroo is out with the flu, so he will not be joining us. So,
Nerd.
yeah, Bryson, you're a newcomer to the show, so...
I am. This is my first time. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, no problem. What do you do over at Culture of Gaming?
I write reviews. Typically, lately, I've been working on Sunday speculation articles that come out every Sunday. So those have been coming out for a while now, and the one this Sunday is over Cyberpunk 2077 because we haven't heard much of that game in a while. So,
All right. Are you looking forward to that game?
I am. The teaser they've shown looks pretty good, and CD Projekt Red is a great studio. Witcher 3 was amazing, so I'm excited to see what they have in store for us.
Yeah, I personally am super excited for it. All right, so, John, what have you been playing this week?
I have just recently got a Nintendo Switch, so I've been playing a lot of Mario Odyssey. Actually, just like the last couple of days. And before that, I was playing Kingdom Come Deliverance for a review. Wound up liking it a lot more than it seemed like I was going to like it last week. So that's good.
Okay.
Has some problems, has some bugs, but I mean, on the whole, you know, I kind of liked it. It was real pretty, and like the talking to people and like the conversation system's pretty good.
Okay.
And the combat's hit or miss. Sometimes, like when it's good, it's really good, but they don't really tell you when the guy is way over leveled. So you can walk into a random bandit and then die in 2 hits. So
That's a ton of fun.
That happens a lot.
That's a ton of fun.
Yeah.
All right, Andrew, how about yourself?
The usual stuff, Rainbow Six. But I just got a Super Nintendo Classic.
Oh boy.
So I've been kind of plugging away a little bit. You know, it's got one of my favorite games, maybe my favorite game of all time, in Street Fighter 2 Turbo.
Okay.
I'm playing a lot of that. I'm gonna do a little. I'm saving some of the games because I think I'm gonna do a little feature coming up soon. So keep an eye on the site for that. It's gonna be kind of a fun little me running through some hard games and stuff like that.
Yeah. All right. Looking forward to that. And then Bryson, how about yourself?
Earlier in the week, I was playing some Hunt Showdown. I had an early access key for the alpha, and so I was playing that a lot. And it closed, I believe, yesterday, and so it went to early access. So now I don't have that closed alpha anymore, but I'm looking forward to purchasing that and playing that more because that's a really cool new Battle Royale shooter that from Crytek, which I'm excited to see more of. So.
Wow. Okay.
That sounds cool.
That game looks really interesting. Yeah, I've seen
it. It does, yeah. The dynamics and different features it incorporates into the Battle Royale franchises. It's great.
I just don't know how I feel about. They do like the that's the whole like you die, your character is like gone, right?
Yeah, permadeath. So anything you take in you, if you just bought a new weapon that does like 30 damage, if you die with it, you lose it. You lose the hunter and everything. So it's pretty brutal. Yeah.
Do you know if you can spend money on a thing and then lose it, like actual money?
No, it's all in-game currency. They don't allow any outside currency currently. So that's how it was in the closed alpha, and I think that's how it is in the early access as well.
Okay. I hope that stays that way.
Yeah, me too.
That would be really, really mean.
Here's to hoping.
Yeah.
Here's to hoping.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so this past week, I've actually been playing quite a bit of Rainbow Six Siege, getting ready for the next operation coming out, Operation Chimera, as well as the co-op event going on, Outbreak. So super excited for that. And then a little bit
Outbreak?
Hasn't come out yet, so I can't tell you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do something for site.
Yeah, maybe.
We talk about that game so much.
Yeah.
You really do.
Be like community night plays or whatever.
Yeah,
definitely.
All right, and of course, members of the chat watching this live on Twitch right now, if you want to weigh in the chat with any suggestions or things you want us to talk about as we're going through the topics, put it in chat, and then we'll be sure to address them if you bring up a valid idea or claim. So, anyway, let's just go ahead and get started. Our first topic actually has to deal with Bryson. So let's talk to you, Bryson. You recently did a review for Dishonored, The Purist and the Price. What exactly is that?
Yes, so it's a comic. It takes place after Dishonored 2, so I don't know if any of you have played the Dishonored franchise. So it takes place after Dishonored 2. You follow Emily and Corvo. So in Dishonored 2, you have to pick between the two characters because one is either trapped in like stone or whatnot from the main villain. But in this one, it takes place after, and it traces their story and stuff. So it builds their characters really well, unlike the second game, because they were separated and didn't have much character development between each other. But in this one, it does a great job of doing that, and it's a really short 2 volumes. And this came out as a book, and I reviewed it a couple months back, and so it just released early this week. So it was a good read.
All right. Yeah, that was honestly one of my biggest disappointments with Dishonored 2, being that there wasn't a whole lot of development between Emily and Corvo.
Yeah, and this comic does just that. So something happens to Corvo, and Emily has to do something to save him, and it's a really good story. But it is cut a little short, which I was disappointed about. But it's still good development between the two characters.
All right. John, Andrew, you guys read this?
I haven't, but I've definitely played some of the first Dishonored. You know, Corvo didn't necessarily seem like anything more than just like a player avatar in that game. So it'd be kind of interesting to see his character development, because he was a silent protagonist in the first one, wasn't he?
He was, and in the second one, if you play him, he is not. So they changed that in the second game.
Okay.
Gave him a voice.
So like the Dead Space guy.
Yeah, Dead Space. Other games have done that as well. So yeah.
And I have Dishonored 2, and it's been installed on my PS4 for a while. I just haven't actually played it. I played the tutorial, and I was like, cool, and then I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
It's a great game. I will say the story is very similar to the first game, but I would choose Emily if you choose a character because her abilities are much, much better.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I mean, I haven't played the first one either. I just was like, whatever, this one looks cool. Why not?
Mhm.
So yeah, I should eventually get to that, I hope.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first game is more of a game that I liked the concept of than I really liked the actual how it played, I guess. So that's why I kind of dropped it. But the story's interesting. Kept up with the story.
Yeah,
so I might pick up that comic book.
My biggest gripe is or in a game like that, Dishonored, is that it modifies the ending drastically depending on the choices or it's depending on how you chose to play the game.
Yeah, it's really weird, and I don't know what is choice-wise. I don't know what is canon because I know in the standalone. I reviewed it a while back ago. Death of the Outsider. You follow Billy Lurk. She's a character in the second game, as well as in an expansion pack for the first game. You play her, and there's some stipulation on what is canon, and so I had to do some research on what decisions were canon, and so it's really weird in that sense.
Yeah, I understand giving the player freedom and freedom of choice and whatnot, but when it kind of uncanonizes parts of your story, that kind of diminishes the story because it makes it feel like, oh, this didn't actually happen. This is what really happened, you know?
Yeah, I understand that.
That's what I really liked about Mass Effect 2 and 3 when they let you bring over your save slot. I wish more games would do that, and have the story at least have some sort of lip service to the choices you made.
So if you're definitely if you're going to do a choice system that will impact things drastically, it should be the Mass Effect system where you import saves throughout.
Yeah, that's definitely a cool mechanic. I actually haven't played a whole lot of Mass Effect myself, which I hate myself for, but I've heard that's really, really great.
Yeah.
At this point, it's pretty daunting to get in because they're all 80, 90-hour games.
Yeah.
Andrew, do you like choices in games?
Choices are always good, man.
All right.
Yeah, that's my feelings on choices. They're great.
All right.
More choices.
All right, so make sure to go check out Bryson's review of The Purist and the Price and go ahead and read it yourself. Does it cost anything to read, or...?
I believe so.
Okay.
I don't think it's that expensive, though.
Okay. So I think standard digital comic book price is fair? Or...
Yeah,
okay.
Definitely.
All right. So, next topic of the day, Star Wars as a brand, so this is your Disney and Lucasfilms, LucasArts and everything, is allegedly seeking a new studio to have video game contracts for. They're looking at to drop EA after the absolutely abysmal sales of Battlefront 2. For reference, Battlefront 2 only sold 7 million copies.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the leak, the primary disappointment with EA comes from the rate at which they're churning out Star Wars games, as not only is Star Wars disappointed with the heavy delay and cancellation of what was going to be the single-player Star Wars game that we talked about a couple months back, and as well as Respawn Entertainment's upcoming Star Wars game not looking like it's going to come anywhere in the near future. So, what do we all think on this one?
Go ahead.
I saw this earlier in the week, and actually surprised me a whole lot because EA's a big studio, big producer, and I know there's rumors that they're looking into Ubisoft or Activision, which are of course great producers as well. But it really surprised me that Disney would back out of something. I think they have a loophole or something in the contract, which is interesting. But yeah, I'm definitely interested in what they finally decide on the franchise. So
yeah, to be fair, when you're dealing with such high level, high money contracts like this, there's always a way out of it type thing. So if Disney wants to commit their money somewhere else, then they will, of course, write in any means to do that into their contracts.
Right. I mean, how much of this is really on EA? I mean, it sounds like Disney's just a hassle to work with, right? I mean,
okay, the one part that I don't think is fair for Disney's complaint is the rate at which EA is churning out Star Wars games. Is okay. Games take a little while to make, So,
yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course. And they're extremely difficult to make, so I mean...
Yeah. But I do agree with Disney's sentiment about the quality of the game. Because,
I think they're all fantastic-looking games. They play pretty well. They're just not very innovative. Well, I mean, at least Battlefield, or Front hasn't been very, the most...
And those are the only Star Wars games that have come out in, 4 or 5 years. So
right,
yeah. So I also think it would be a little bit more fair if EA had another Star Wars game published that wasn't Battlefront for Disney to be saying this.
Right.
But at the same time, I also see there was this horrible negative press and issues with Battlefront 2. So
yeah, that again falls on the loot box kind of thing and microtransaction stuff.
Okay.
I mean, at least I think. I mean,
yeah.
You could also argue it's not very different from the first game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
Disney has a very strong. You see this with the Marvel movies and the Star Wars movies to a certain extent. Like they have people there who have a very strong blueprint for what they want to see.
Yeah.
I mean, Marvel has had, up to the new Avengers movie coming out this year, they've had that mapped out since Iron Man 1. I'm sure Guardians of the Galaxy and those kind of things weren't a part of that, but, they had the basic roadmap. And as such, they've kept it pretty consistent, to the point where people now are there are people now who are like, oh, they're all the same.
Right.
I'm not that way. I love all of them, but they are very tonally consistent, which is why Edgar Wright couldn't stay and Joss Whedon wasn't allowed or didn't want to stay because it was so tight-handed.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, I could see that going to the video games too. That they want releases every they want something coming out at least every year or two, and only having 2 Battlefront games in 5 years, I could see them being a little antsy. Especially with the troubled development of all of the other Star Wars games.
Yeah,
it's kind of been is this going to happen? Are we able to keep this going? Oh nope, the studio closed. Now it's turning into something else.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I get that.
Okay.
I mean, working with Disney, they have to get everything approved. I definitely have heard before that like that people were trying to make like, oh, let's make this is an example, let's make the Stormtrooper blue. They're like, nope, can't do that. That's not canon. That's not how it works in Star Wars.
Yeah.
So imagine people trying to make, original ideas and they're just getting shut down because that's not how it works in Star Wars.
And I mean,
Right.
I would totally kill some rebels as a pink stormtrooper. Are you kidding me? Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
why not?
Who wouldn't?
yeah, like I mean, that would make the game infinitely more playable for me. If
Yeah, get some
I
weird
get
colors
that.
in there.
yeah,
But I also get if it's if you're putting that much money into something and that much effort into giving it like an identity, I could see you kind of being like, no, pink stormtroopers are not something.
Yeah, video games are fun, man. We gotta have some fun. Video
I
games,
know.
that's what they're mostly there for, right? So
They're also a business though, so I mean,
yeah.
I
But
I
who's
get
gonna,
when you
who's complaining? Like, oh man, like I'm glad I didn't get to play as a blue stormtrooper. That would really broke my immersion. Like, that's
yeah.
I think the surprise is that some Star Wars fans would some hardcore Star Wars fans would just be super irate about it. But of course, that's Disney upholding their canon trustworthiness, I guess.
yeah.
I mean, everyone's gonna be mad about something, especially with Star Wars.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
To me, like I always thought Disney does kind of this weird distancing thing with Marvel, or between like Marvel and Star Wars and everything. So it's like you go to watch like a Marvel movie or one of the latest Star Wars movies, you never really see like a Disney logo flash before the movie starts. So you definitely think it's like its own thing.
right.
So you'd think maybe Disney, because this is coming from the top of Disney. This isn't like Lucasfilm specifically. This is actually coming from the top of Disney.
Yeah.
You'd kind of think this would be something more that like Lucasfilm could handle and whatnot.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
then I don't think it helped that when Battlefront 2 was at the height of its controversy, you had articles titled like Disney kids gambling. What? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't help the sales.
Yeah. So,
I still find it crazy that 7 million is considered disappointing.
I mean, it's
7 million sales.
nowadays that's pretty abysmal, honestly, for video games.
Yeah.
For like a gigantic one like that. maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still probably profitable. I would think, but
Right. I mean, I would assume that it is pretty profitable, but I mean, how many more people are out there that play video games that didn't buy it? I mean,
Mhm.
you've got to expect that a good percentage of like the video game population bought Battlefield 2 if 7 million copies were sold.
Yeah.
I remember it being ridiculous when like Tomb Raider and like Deus Ex sold like 4 million copies, and Square Enix was like, "Oh, that's way too low."
yeah. But then
I mean, I
like
think yeah.
you also
Go ahead.
look at like a more I dare say mass appealing title like Call of Duty or something where at its height, Modern Warfare 2 sold something like 20 million copies, Modern Warfare 3 30 million, stuff like that. It just
Yeah.
kind of ramped up.
I mean,
So-
what Grand Theft Auto 5 is the highest selling game of all time, and they've sold like 125 million copies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder how much is like double dipping on like PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, and then on PC and again.
At very least, last gen and current gen, I would see people
Yeah.
doing. I mean, I did.
Yeah. They only got one copy from me, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I didn't buy a second one. I thought about it many times
Okay. I've like
because the online looks cool, but
quad dipped in Skyrim. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
like quad dipped in Skyrim. So
I'm probably about there. I know that I bought it for PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360. I'll probably buy it on my Switch.
okay. Yeah.
It seems like something to, take with me places.
Yeah.
I have this similar thing only with Dive Kick. For whatever reason, I own Dive Kick on every single platform it's ever been available.
That's awesome.
On the Vita, I got it everywhere, man.
That's
I don't know.
awesome.
That's me with Metal Gear Solid. Like everywhere that I have it on, I've had it on like Xbox, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360,
Lord.
PlayStation 4, the newer ones. Yeah,
Wow.
the Vita, I had the HD collection.
Jeez. So do you like the game?
No, it's
Okay. I mean, wow.
I keep
Wow.
trying to play it to see if like it makes sense
Things
at all. It
change?
never
Oh.
does.
It's just,
Oh
you know,
man.
maybe if I play it on the Switch this time, it'll make sense. Oh no, it
Yeah.
still doesn't. All right. So, any last thoughts about new studio? Who would you guys like to see as a new studio if Disney says screw EA?
I kind of like to see. I mean, if we're forced between Activision and Ubisoft, I would go with Ubisoft. But
Okay.
I agree.
I mean, I'd kind of like to see like I don't know some like kind of smaller company that get a chance to do it. I
CD
guess.
Projekt.
I mean, I would say yes, but if they're already mad at EA for not putting out games fast enough,
Yeah.
I don't think CD Projekt Red is the right
Yeah.
place to
Yeah,
go.
I would say that
Yeah.
too. Considering like we got a Cyberpunk announcement in like 2013, right? And then
Yeah,
we didn't
exactly.
hear anything for like 5 years until it just tweeted beep boop, and then
Yep.
it got on everyone's mind again.
Valve should do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Valve with their fast releasing cycle.
yeah.
I think if Disney does choose another studio, I think Ubisoft would be a good option. I think it would
think
also
it
help
would, too.
Ubisoft as well, considering their past few games have not been great. You know, For Honor, was it Wildlands, something like that?
Yeah,
Yeah, Ghost Recon.
Yeah, kind of like they were hit and miss, didn't do well. So I think it'd be a great way for Ubisoft to kind of rise out of the ashes, I guess.
I think it's
Yeah.
super important to look at how well and like whatever the next Ubisoft title will be. I think it's going to be that like pirate combat game or whatever. I think
Yeah.
that'll
Oh
probably
yeah,
be the
Skulls
next.
and
Bones?
something.
Skull and
Yeah.
Bones?
That'll probably be the next released one. And it's because I think like Ghost Recon Wildlands and For Honor all suffered from the same sort of culture that Rainbow Six suffered at launch and stuff like that. So I think there were still kind of remnants of that. Assassin's Creed Origins kind of dug itself out a bit from that, but yeah, I think it's going to be super important to watch what another Ubisoft launch is going to be.
Well, I mean, Ubisoft has been, under. I mean, there have been stories for years about like Vivendi wanting to buy Ubisoft, and them I think kind of why they've gone into so many like loot boxes and that
Yeah.
kind of stuff is to
Yeah.
keep from getting sold.
Well,
So, I
I
mean-
don't even think it was being sold as being like a hostile takeover.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, that was more like what was happening. Like Vivendi was just slowly buying up Ubisoft.
Mhm.
Right.
But like they're really good about releasing those Assassin's Creed games every year. I mean, if you want another yearly game series, I'm sure Disney would like that too.
Yeah, I'm
Mhm.
sure. I think Ubisoft stopped with the yearly Assassin's Creed.
They
Yeah,
I
took
think
that
they went to
last year off,
bi-yearly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. You
Yeah,
definitely
and-
the post Ezio Assassin's Creed world. You definitely saw the yearly release kind of take its toll on stuff.
right.
Yeah, law of diminishing returns and all that.
Yeah. Thanks for the compliment on the background, Tony James, 404. All right. So, yeah, next topic is Metal Gear Survive selling save slots. Is this the final form of microtransactions, or can it go even further?
Oh, we can go even further.
You can always go further.
Okay.
They could sell sell like 2 levels for $60 and then like here buy other levels.
Is this not dissimilar to what like old MMOs used to do? Didn't they used to charge basically for another slot, like another character?
I don't think WoW ever did that.
No. Okay.
I
can't.
think
Go ahead.
usually you can have so many and then buy extra slots.
Okay.
Okay.
I think Black Desert Online did that. Like you could have 4 or 5, and then if you wanted more, you could pay $10 for 2 more or something.
Sure. Okay.
But
Yeah.
more
I
than
know-
one is ridiculous.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
Warframe. You can have like up to 5 Warframes, but there's like 30 in the game. So once you reach your max, you can either sell one or you can buy more with platinum, which is the premium currency, which is just actual cash.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just out of curiosity, have any of y'all played Metal Gear Survive yet? Because I personally haven't. I don't want to touch that game because.
I've seen videos. Man, it looks bad.
Okay.
I have not. I haven't played any Metal Gear.
Okay.
I played the beta a while back.
Okay.
and it looks like it hasn't really changed from beta.
Okay.
Yeah, I watched Jim Sterling stabbing zombies through a gate for 10 minutes. Just same animations,
Yeah.
same animations all around. And ugh.
I mean, people
So
like that
bad.
grind though, that grind of building up your base. Look at Rust. That Rust
I
just came
mean-
out of early access, and that's the same hit rock into a tree over and over again.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I get that. I mean, I don't know. Survival games in and of themselves are hard. You know, that was the reason why I never bought No Man's
Ark?
Sky or
Oh,
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I heard people didn't like it, but I mean, it looked all right. But seeing those, like, you got to get a bunch of gas to go to this next planet, I'm like, I don't
Right.
wanna deal with that.
Yeah, I've never been super duper interested in the survival crafting genre. Granted, I don't think Survive is like that horrible of survival crafting, but the one thing that really turns me off from the game, from what I've seen, is the emphasis on melee combat. And in Metal Gear Solid 5, I really liked the gunplay, the gun combat, and everything. I mean, the
Yeah.
melee was definitely acceptable, but it wasn't anything to
Yeah.
write home about. And then, they kind of redid the melee system quite a bit for Survive, and it looks like they have it working, but I mean, that's just not what I'm interested in out of the engine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Fox engine's one of the coolest engines to come out
Mhm.
in, the last couple of years. And it's just sad that, like, Konami has such a death grip on it that you get Metal Gear Survive and, like, PES on
Yeah.
it. And that's all that, like, it will probably ever be used for.
Yeah.
Now you can sneak around in your soccer games too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot to hide behind on a soccer pitch.
Okay. So, like, I look at it like this. It's a really garbage thing to sell a save slot, but, like, okay, from what I understand, there is an in-game currency system that if you play enough of, you can unlock the save slot with that. And the general sentiment I've heard is that by the time that you need the second save slot, then you'll have plenty of currency to do that with. And
What do
also,
you need? What do you need the second? Like a second character or a second like?
Yeah, it'd be for a second character.
yeah, and then it's like, okay, in a Metal Gear game, do you really need a second character?
No, right? Like
Yeah, that's
Well, I mean, take it out of like a Metal Gear game. I think this is more towards like multiplayer. So
Okay.
I'm sure that there are different specs. So,
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any option for like a new game plus, like a lot of single players do, or
I don't think so.
no? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
either.
I don't know what the single player really looks like. I've seen some like multiplayer stuff. That seems to be like
Gotcha.
Yeah.
what the big push is to get with like 4 other people and
Oh, okay.
kill some unicorn zombies.
Yeah. From what I heard, the multiplayer is like a pretty small aspect of it. It's like you're just running these kind of defend missions,
Okay.
over and over to like get the resources. Whereas like the actual single player, you're like going into something called the Dust and like opening up wormholes and kind of progressing the story. Whereas you actually like cannot do that in multiplayer. From what
Okay.
I understand.
Okay. It's like,
Yeah.
man, what is even happening
Gotcha.
in that
Yeah.
game? You know?
It's
You wouldn't even
wild.
know if you were just going to play the single player, But we all saw how Metal Gear Solid 5 turned out when they started like, oh, you want to buy insurance for your mother base? Well, it's just $10 a month, and nobody will ever attack you again.
Mm.
And it's just, yeah, I mean, the Konami, realizes that they don't have a whole lot of, they don't have a whole lot of games anymore. I mean, Castlevania probably is, not ever going to happen again.
Yeah, they also
'Cause-
lost Silent Hill with the departure of Kojima.
Yeah,
Oh,
So-
may it rest in peace.
Yeah.
yeah. They've let so many of like those people go that like I don't think they even have much talent left.
Oof.
I'm not saying that as like a
No, I got you.
incendiary thing.
I got you.
But yeah, I mean, the Castlevania people are all gone.
Mhm.
Hideo Kojima's gone. Pretty much all those people are gone, and it's not. They've moved on to other things, and they're just kind of like continuing to bleed the last few, things they have left until, they just go into pachinko. It's sad, but that's how I see it.
So, okay, I want to ask one of you guys this. What exactly is a pachinko machine? Is it like a slot machine? What is it?
Sort of, yeah.
Patchy Slots is like a slot machine, but like just straight pachinko is like you drop balls down like these pegs,
Okay.
and then they go into like holes and you rack up points and then you know,
It's like a plinko, if you're familiar
token.
with
Yeah.
Yeah.
that
Okay.
classic Price is Right
Okay.
game.
Yeah. But then
A
like,
couple of weeks I was in Japan, like those places were always like packed full of people.
Mhm.
do you win like money prizes for it, or what's the incentive here?
So it's kind of a gray area.
Yeah.
Okay.
You win prizes, but there are places that you can sell the prizes back
Okay.
for money. So
I gotcha.
I mean, that's kind
Yeah.
of the gray area.
Yeah.
You'll get this blue ball, and then you go to the front and turn your blue ball in for whatever amount of cash.
Yeah,
Interesting.
because
And
gambling itself is actually illegal in Japan.
Yeah.
okay. And
So that's the moral gray area.
how do they incorporate gaming into it? Because like I see screenshots of like Metal Gear Solid 3 Pachinko Edition. So it's like,
That
are you
looks so good.
playing through the game as you're dropping the balls, or what are you doing there exactly?
What was it? Super Bunny Hop had a video where he went and found one. And you're just playing slots until you win so much, and then a cutscene happens,
Mhm.
and you keep playing, you win so much, and like the next cutscene happens.
Huh.
Yeah.
So it's
So-
like,
I don't know how often you guys go to Vegas, but there are like some big machines. Like there's like a Plants vs Zombie machine.
Yeah,
And after
Oh, okay.
you play a few rounds, a little mini game will pop up, and like, oh, you gotta do something really quick on this big LCD screen before the zombie comes to your base, and then like you
Yep.
extra thing or something silly like that happens.
wow.
from Oklahoma, so there are a million casinos within like spitting distance of anywhere you are.
Okay.
So I mean, yeah, there's a lot of those things, or like the Sex and the City machine, or the Wheel of Fortune machine, where
Right.
you just play
Gotcha.
and then suddenly it's time to win some money.
Yeah.
So I think it kind of works like that. Like sometimes it may be a mini game. I think the Metal Gear Solid 3 really is just you play until you win so much, and then they give you a cutscene as like your winnings.
Okay.
Mhm. Something cool happens, and Big Boss chokes a dude out.
So it's
Yeah.
like I'm perpetually paying to like for a game to tell me a story.
Yeah,
Type-
pretty
okay.
much.
Oh wow.
Man, that's that's horrible. That really hurts. All right.
From that video though, like he said he had to go to several arcades and several pachinko parlors before he even found one of like the Metal Gear Solid 3
Mhm.
pachinko games. So I don't think they're like as those big games are even as like prevalent as you would think. I think they're just kind of like something that like Konami can put out and be like, "Hey, find the Silent Hill pachinko machine," or
yeah.
then all the other pachinko machines around there are all Konami machines. Just normal pachinko machines.
Okay.
So I
So
think it's
that
a
leads
marketing thing.
that leads me to ask the question: was it worth firing Kojima over? Was it worth firing Kojima over?
I mean, as much as I hate to say it, like I think, Metal Gear Solid's one of my favorite series of all time,
Yeah.
as I've made clear several times. But I'm kind of glad he's free. Like I don't think he didn't want to make any past 2, but he made 3. Had a story for 3.
Mm-hmm.
4, you kind of started to see him being kind of angry that he was still doing this. And then, he made Peace Walker for his kids.
Yeah.
So that's why it's more like teen rated and
Oh.
sillier.
Man, Peace Walker is a trip, by the way. But
It is.
anyway.
Uh,
Also, wait,
And
hold
then
on.
Metal-
No, I want to stop you right there. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But, like, Peace Walker, it's made for his kids, but there's an electric torture scene in Peace Walker. Are you kidding me?
Also,
In Japan, he's laughing. It's like it tickles him.
Okay.
It's like an electric tickle
Oh,
torture.
okay.
Or, yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
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 Yeah.
Yeah.
You also said sillier. I have to remind you, there is a monkey that smokes cigarettes and like drinks Coca-Cola. In one of the
True.
parks.
Yeah.
But there's also a literal like Monster Hunter quest line with like a talking
really?
cat, and
Yeah.
yeah.
That's very
So
cool.
I didn't get through that whole thing.
it is. I mean, and there's the serious Metal Gear is in there somewhere, but and then I think 5, he was more interested in making the engine,
Yeah.
and that took too long, and finally Konami's like, no, you got to release this. This, 'cause they put like $80 million or something into it.
Worth
Something
it.
ridiculous.
Worth it.
In like 8 to 10 years. And they were like, no, we need some sort of return on this investment.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of glad that he's gone and he's at Sony, and Sony's like, yeah, whatever.
You have a blank check.
Yeah. Here you
You
go,
have
man.
a blank check.
Uh,
Fill it in when you're done.
check, and however long you want to do it.
Yeah.
Is it just like Team Kojima? Is that the name of the studio?
Kojima Studios, I think.
Kojima Studios.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it probably was a good thing for Konami too, because I think Kojima was kind of like their last, big name, and he was able to just be like, I'll do whatever I want. You can't stop me.
I
So
forget.
they're like, hey, we're firing you, and we're releasing this game right now.
Yeah.
Like,
So
but it's only a third of the way done.
hashtag release chapter 3. Yeah. But I was going to say, yeah, so the art, I forget his name. It's a Japanese name, obviously. But the primary artist for Metal Gear, the guy that does the really cool, like, stylized...
Shinkawa.
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly. I forget if he's still at Konami, but I've seen some of the art that he's done for an upcoming game that he's working on. And I forget whether it's not under Konami, but it looks really interesting. I don't think it was shown off at E3. It was...
Oh, that Final Front
Yes.
stuff.
Yes. You got it.
Right.
You got it. Yeah, that looks really interesting.
He's also. I don't think he's at Konami anymore. He's he's doing the artwork for Death Stranding too. So
Oh, cool.
Oh, okay.
I think he's allowed to do whatever. I mean,
Mhm.
go wherever he wants. He's just creating what the game looks like. It's not like he probably has to be there 24/7 during the development process.
Yeah. Fair enough. Anyway, so speaking of Death Stranding, we got more rumors about it. I mean, look at that segue there. That was beautiful.
Yep.
So
Okay.
Troy Baker, who is the voice for the Arkham series of games, Joker, Booker DeWitt from BioShock Infinite, Joel from The Last of Us, and Sam Drake from Uncharted 4, is
And
apparently...
millions and millions of other voices.
Yeah.
Every 30-year-old white guy.
Yeah, pretty much. Is
Yeah,
apparently
since,
involved in Death Stranding,
Okay.
That
Yeah.
doesn't surprise me.
as well as Emily O'Brien, who is most noted for the voice of Gamora in the Telltale games Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
I've not played that.
Troy Baker had enough. He had a good enough time playing Ocelot in Metal Gear Solid 5 that probably wasn't a hard get.
No. Oh, that's right. I forgot he did Ocelot. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good. I mean, he's a good voice actor, or a good actor, I guess nowadays, right? They're all mocap and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much actors. But yeah, he's great. I'm sure he's done some stuff that we could look at and be like, interesting. But for the most part, his stuff's great.
Yeah, I wonder...
yeah, he's got to make a paycheck like everyone else.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, one thing that was with Death Stranding is that, at least for the two main characters, which are Mads Mikkelsen and... What's the other guy's name?
Norman Reedus.
Yeah, Norman Reedus, thank you. It's like their in-game models are modeled after themselves, for like mocap and voices and whatnot.
Yeah.
So, that's pretty cool. So, I wonder if we'll get like a Troy Baker-looking character in Death Stranding.
We kind of have one of those already in
Ocelot.
Advanced Warfare.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's true too. Yeah.
He was the voice of Vincent
Oh, yeah.
Warfare.
Kevin
And it looks
Spacey?
a lot like him.
Oh,
No,
okay.
no. Troy Baker was the main protagonist.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know if you guys ever followed this. I think maybe there was like 8 months ago or so. There was a leak that showed like a female soldier or something from Death Stranding, and it looked a lot like Emma Stone. And so speculation was going rampant that, oh, it looks like Emma Stone is working on Death Stranding as well. But when I was looking up Emily O'Brien before this podcast to see what what stuff she had done, brought me to her IMDb page where of course they have a picture, and that leaked photo of like the blonde soldier looked a lot, or it's like that could be Emily O'Brien.
Mm-hmm.
Could
Oh.
be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
I can't even remember. I remember, the Emma Stone rumors,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember Mads Mikkelsen said something that to the effect of she's in there, or
Okay.
she's, or they're working on hiring her, or something.
Yeah.
I remember Mads Mikkelsen has probably been the most outspoken to oh yeah, that's a cool theory. It's probably true.
Yeah. It'll be really insane if we also end up with like Stephanie Houston on the cast, and yeah, just like all the old like voices of Metal Gear kind of come back into Death Stranding, one way, shape, or another.
Except for
Oh,
David Hayter.
Yeah,
Poor guy.
except for David Hayter. So yeah, so any thoughts about these characters? Anyone?
I mean, I haven't played the Telltale Guardians of the Galaxy game, so I don't know what she sounds like. But I mean, Troy Baker's a good,
Good pickup. Good pickup.
yeah. It's almost kind of like I expected him to already have been in that game.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Because he can pretty much do whatever. He can,
Yeah. He's got some range.
he can either be Troy Baker or he can, be somebody completely unrecognizable.
Yeah.
Wait, he was Joel in last episode. Did we already say that?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Which is a great character, by the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. All right. So, next topic up. Mario Odyssey DLC, Balloon World. Any of you guys play that?
Not.
Have not.
No, I have not.
All right. Well, I have not either. I was hoping you guys would have. All right. So that was quick.
So let's talk about it now.
Yeah.
Yay!
All right.
That's free to download, right? And you can just jump right in. That's a question.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe I will do that today.
Maybe ask me next week and I'll.
All right. All right.
I've just seen some photos going around of Luigi questioning Mario in a dress, which is pretty good.
That sounds like something I'd be into.
Yeah. It seems very silly.
That's right up my
Right
alley.
way.
Let me tell you. I'm like one of the 12 people that does not own Mario Odyssey. So.
I'm
Yeah.
right there with you. I'm one
Okay.
of those 12.
Okay.
It's really fun. I'm not a huge Mario fan, but it's won me over.
Yeah, like the next time I get $60 to spend on a Switch game, it'll probably be Bayonetta 2, in all honesty.
Well, yeah.
I thought I
got-
saw Mario on sale a little bit, but
Oh, okay.
I got mine for $25 with the Switch, so
Yeah, you picked up a
I-
steal on your Switch, Sean.
I did. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you got it for 200, right? Is what you
Yeah, it didn't come with a dock, so I gotta
said? Okay.
buy a dock, but that's about it.
Okay.
do you get it used?
Yeah,
Okay.
Oh,
some guy off of Facebook.
Oh,
Okay.
How much will the dock run you?
The dock I'm looking at it's 40, I think, at Best Buy.
That's
It's
bad.
not a Nintendo dock, but
what?
Mm.
It
I
works.
think the Nintendo dock's like 90.
He didn't want to give you the dock.
He said he didn't have it. I don't know where. I'm not gonna say that this, probably is.
Weird.
I don't know what happened to it.
Well, we're happy you're alive. You didn't get
Yeah.
stabbed by this man
Yeah.
I mean,
or woman.
yeah, I'm 6 foot something. I think I'd probably scare anybody off who wanted to stab me.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
6'7" guy, almost 300 pounds coming at you. I don't think.
I would not try and shame that guy. I'd be like, screw it, just have the Switch.
Yeah,
Yeah. You know? All
But no
right.
dock. You don't get the dock though.
Yeah. Yeah, instead of stab, no, you
I-
could have either picked getting stabbed or the dock. So
True. He did as he was leaving. He had like 4 other games. He was like, "Yeah, if you want them later, I'll give them all to you for $50." I'm like,
oh,
"Ugh,
okay.
So this your switch fell off the back of a truck. It sounds like.
that's or out of somebody's unlocked house or something."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You found like a shady Nintendo dealer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm fine with it. It works.
All right.
I don't have to know where it came from, right?
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Just hey, yeah, man, don't ask questions.
Nope.
Yeah, just don't ask questions.
That's things I've learned in the military. Don't ask questions.
All right.
You might
So-
not like the answers.
All right, so next topic is let's talk about time gates in video games. So to introduce the concept just a little bit, it's that progress is artificially hindered by X amount of time. For example, the most like easiest example that I could think of for this was WoW reputation grinding, because I've been doing a lot of that lately, and it's like, you know, if this like reputation wasn't time dated, which means like I didn't have to come back tomorrow and do stuff to make like progress gradually, you know, I would probably be done with it by now. And like by now is not necessarily an insignificant amount of time. Be like a solid 8, maybe 20 hours later. So
You have to reach a certain level of time played.
no, it's not necessarily that, but it's like your progress is diminished because they need you to come back tomorrow to do the next thing to keep going on that
Oh.
progress. That's sort
So
of the
they're like
concept.
quests or achievements or like checkpoints you have to make.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
Daily, like dailies, basically.
Yeah, it's effectively daily quests in WoW.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
They're good if they're implemented right.
I mean, yeah, but it's like I look at it like this: the more time, it's like if you can dedicate more time, then like sure you should be able to progress faster. It seems like they kind of streamline the amount of time that people are able to dedicate to it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I guess it's also good to keep consecutive players keep to coming back, but it almost sounds like they punish you for not, not coming back so
Right.
often.
Right.
Is it like those free-to-play games where they're like, "Here, come back in 24 hours to finish building this thing," or
Yeah, that too. Where it's like you can have all the
yeah,
supplies. Yeah.
Yeah.
it's always annoying, especially once you get to a level where where you played enough, and they're like, "Here, come back in a week and a half."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's never fun.
Yeah, but it's like so it's like before the next WoW expansion, instead of usually like raiding and trying to min-max my character like you usually do, I decided I'm kind of sitting back for the next few months in that game until the next expansion, and I'm working towards collecting like 350 mounts or so in order for a specific achievement and a specific mount, and so it's like a massive collector's item, like prize item, but yeah, and so it's like a lot of it is I have to grind a lot of reputations in the game, and it's like, if I could put like 20 hours into a reputation grind and be done with it in like 2 or 3 days, okay, that's sure.
Okay.
That's sure. But like, I can only do X amount per day, so something that I could probably get done in like 20 hours of just solid grinding, it's going to take me like 2 or 3 weeks to do.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never been a fan of those kind of things because it's like it doesn't like the company doesn't respect the player's time.
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
I don't understand why you would gate off the amount of time a player would, be able to play and still make progress with, because like to me that'd be like, oh well, I'm done. I'm gonna go do something else now.
Right.
Right.
Instead of like I've always got like that just one more,
Mm-hmm.
mentality that keeps me up till 2 in the
Fair enough.
I've never understood why, for, free to play games, it makes sense because that's when they're like, hey, give us some money.
Yeah.
Right.
But,
Mhm.
if there's not, like World of Warcraft, I would assume probably you can't just buy reputation.
No, you can't.
So it's just a, it becomes a job, more than anything.
Yeah.
I mean,
You
like
know.
you said, it's a massive collector's item. They're gonna make you work for it, right? Like, they
Right.
don't
I mean,
want-
I'm okay with working for it, but I just don't like the artificial like time delays that's being put on it.
yeah.
Yeah, because like it's
I
already.
would
Go ahead.
in a case like that, like I would be more willing to grind out a lot more reputation to get that item if I could just do it than
Mm-hmm.
a smaller number, but I can only do so much a day. It's
Yeah.
just psychologically that that seems better for a player.
Does that make it like harder for cheaters, like to get it? If you can just grind it all in one spot. There's some way someone can somehow use a cheat engine or whatever, and just grind that all in 2 days by leaving their computer on instead of having to log back in every day and
I mean,
do
yeah,
that.
it does kind of have a vulnerability to botting, which is fair.
Yeah.
That's a fair point.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I'm
I
just
guess
saying,
I can see that.
yeah. Have any of you guys kind of experienced something similar in any other games? I know I'm trying to the resident MMO player here at COG, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, there's a little bit with that Hearthstone. They give you 3 quests and
Mhm.
you get gold for those. So I understand why you only get 3 quests, up to 3 quests,
Yeah.
or 1 quest a day, because they don't want you just grinding and grinding for gold and then buying all that stuff for free. Although
Yeah.
you do get 10 gold for every 3 wins, but that's like nothing.
Yeah. That's I mean, just about any like phone game I've ever played, especially like the mobile strikes or the Game of War things where it's like, you tap on the building and hit upgrade, and there's so much time associated with it. Once you get like to a high enough level, it starts being, a couple of days or a week or,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure if you play long enough, months. But I, hate to keep going back to this, but Metal Gear Solid 5 had a lot of that too.
Yeah, that's
and that's
fair.
when I throw my phone in the trash.
Yeah. G-Man Films in the chat brings up a nice little point here, which I think Andrew or Bryson, I don't remember who said it, at the start of this conversation brought up. It's like, it kind of seems like it's a way to boost or pad their kind of players per day statistic. Because, they can keep you logging in to do one thing at least every day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's fair enough. But at the same time, I'm still paying the subscription each month. So what do they really care?
Man, WoW still has that's
I mean, it kind of does. I guess you can get this WoW token now that you can have for like a few thousand gold in game. But like, I'm super poor in game. Like I might as well be homeless in game. So yeah, it's not really an option for me.
Oh, this game sounds terrible. Sorry.
It's like
You're
it's homeless.
grinding, You're homeless. Dude,
Yeah,
it
it's-
sounds like a hellscape.
Yeah.
It's because like I never grind for like gold or anything. I only grind for like
Yeah.
cool stuff.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
Sure. Whew.
But it's WoW is rough, on the mean streets of Stormwind. Just
Yeah.
got some gold, and some gold.
You got like a donkey as your mount or something.
Yeah. Well, we are visited by a furry friend. Does he have any thoughts?
Yep. Her thoughts are, I just want to find someplace comfortable and lay down.
All right. Cat's absolutely adorable.
Me too, man. Me too.
Yeah.
Cats are useless.
Oh man. Okay.
I still love them though.
Yeah. I modeled in Monster Hunter World. You can get a little like cat companion or something like that. I forget the
Palco.
Yeah, Panko. I modeled it after the cat I live with.
Oh, nice.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's absolutely adorable. Yeah, so anyway, it was just I'm trying to think of any other like non-MMO games that have a time date sort of like that. I guess the closest thing to relate it to was like, I don't know, in Skyrim sometimes you have to wait until the next day with like the game's travel system before completing the next part of the quest, but then that's like 30 seconds. You just have to stand there waiting, It's not
Yeah.
really.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe like Animal Crossing is something that.
Oh yeah, that's a good one too.
Yeah. Like 'cause
Yeah.
you have
There's
to.
only so much you can do a day.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and they're based on like real world days, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you can only do so much. So no, I guess you're turning the game off and waiting for tomorrow.
Or, the later Pokemon games did this. I think Diamond and Pearl were the first ones to do that. certain Pokemon to be caught at certain times of day, and unless you decided to cheat the system and set your DS like a couple hours ahead or behind, then you would have to wait until that time next day to catch the Pokemon you wanted through there.
Yeah.
And if you're
What was that game that like you had to capture sunlight and you needed real sunlight to capture it?
what?
Wow, that's cool.
That was a game?
It was a Game Boy game.
That's really neat, actually.
Oh man,
It's
I
called,
think
like-
I know what you're talking about, but
Boktai?
nah, I have no idea now.
Yeah,
No.
I played it. Like you had to keep like a. No, from what I remember, I mean, this game came out years ago. This was
Okay.
like a Game Boy Advance game, but you had to always keep like so much sunlight, so you kind of had to like go outside and collect actual like literal sunlight.
Okay.
And like if you ran out, like you weren't as powerful or something. So it was weird.
Interesting.
Yeah, Boktai, the sun is in your hand.
That's it.
Okay, what sensor did it use on the Game Boy?
That's what I was gonna ask. Maybe it's in
It had a sensor in the cart, I
I was
think.
gonna say it might be in the cart. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I want to say because like it had something that like stuck out
Yeah.
above the top.
I imagine people kind of cheating that, just like, sticking a UV light in front of it overnight or something, or whatever, just keep it charged up.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, you could, but I mean, who has a UV light, especially back then?
I mean, I do.
You don't know what I'm growing in my garage.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
I do. What are you talking about?
That's true.
Yeah. Okay, here's a thought. That'd be a cool, like, Okami spin-off game, because, like, in Okami you play as Amaterasu, who's, like, the goddess of the sun, right?
Hmm.
That'd kind of be a fun mechanic. Where it's
That
like,
would be kind of a cool mechanic.
in Okami, you have to have, like, ink to draw or whatever. Instead of ink, you need, like, sunlight to draw stuff, because, you're god of the sun or whatever, so you have to go out and charge it. I don't know, that might be fun.
I think you're describing the next microtransaction in the new Plants vs Zombies game.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Buy your son.
Hey, plants need sunlight to grow, so,
That's true.
yeah.
Apparently, Moonlight works though as well.
That's kind of weird, but okay.
That's
I
how.
mean, moonlight is UV light,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it just seems kind of counterintuitive,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, we're all on a flat Earth, in which case.
Oh no. Oh, no.
Gosh.
Don't tell me if my Earth is flat.
As far as I'm going with that.
Was it John or John? Was it you last week who mentioned getting into debates with flat earthers?
Oh yeah,
a lot? Yeah.
that was me.
Okay. You
I think
run
it was
into
the
any more of
next day
those?
I started the day out with him just completely like, turning various different things like evolution and the Big Bang and that kind of stuff into like the most ridiculous sounding stuff. I'm like, okay, yep, I think I've won.
All right.
And then later, some guy came in and said, "Well, why don't you get out of this conversation? Because you're something something." I'm like, "Yeah, this is my Twitter thing. So why don't you leave?" And then nobody from that side, has said anything.
Has
since,
dared to come
so,
back. Has dared to come back.
Yep.
Just okay. All right. So that was a nice tangent.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice non-gaming tangent.
Yeah. Anyway, so shameless plug here. If you would like to debate whether or not the Earth is flat, head on over to the community Discord for Culture of Gaming, where you can talk to everyone you see appearing on the Power Up podcast and debate with us anything. Apparently, I guess I just opened that up to whatever.
Be nice.
Yeah. I used to plug gaming related stuff or stuff that we would stuff that we would talk about on the show, but now it's anything. So, you know what? Hit us up with
Open
all.
the floodgates.
Yeah, hit us up with all that stuff, flat earth. Yeah, just have at. Anyway, yeah, moving on. All right, big topic of the week. The last 2 weeks have kind of been depressing. 3 weeks actually have kind of been depressing because we always trying to deal with a heavy-handed topic on the show. This week's heavy-handed topic is the age-old argument of violent video games causing real-world violence. The most recent reference for this being the Florida school shooting. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
It's time to have that conversation again, guys.
Yep. I've got an article that's ready to go up on the site, probably go up in the next day or two, where I talk about that.
Hmm.
But it's just an easy way. Like, video games are something that, like, can be used as a boogeyman, because people are still old enough to think, oh, they don't understand what video games are, I guess.
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
generation, the old, people getting older are people now who have, like, played it. Like, I'm in my 30s now, so I'm not some little kid anymore.
Yeah.
So I think it becomes less and less effective as time goes on, because I mean, more and more of us are, getting to that age where, a politician could be like, oh, it's those violent video games, and we're like, yeah, well, I mean, I've been playing violent video games for 25 years and I've never shot up a school or
Yeah.
even thought about it. And
Yeah.
there are more and more studies coming out that prove that, like, there's really no correlation.
Hmm.
The correlation, the people who, play violent video games and then go and shoot up a school or, whatever, are such like an outlier that it's not even worth really talking about.
Right.
Just people who already would have had, the desire to do something like that,
Yeah.
and they also played violent video games, I guess. Maybe it influenced them a little bit,
Mhm.
but that's not like what everybody that's not like everybody's, experience.
Right.
It's just people who already were, a little bit messed up in the head, and, we're waiting for a reason.
Yeah.
So,
And
Well,
like,
I've got some news for you guys. I regret to inform you that all games are now Bubsy, because Bubsy is the nicest boy, and there is no violence.
oh no.
So
Oh.
only playing Bubsy from now on.
Oh.
well, I
You can
quit.
go find a different hobby. You can go find a different hobby.
Yeah.
That's the sort of thing that'll maybe take up guns as a hobby. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but more seriously, yeah. I mean, it's kind of an age-old thing, right? Like we always talk about it, like, oh, violent video games, but like, look, there's assassinations and what have you in 1812. That stuff, video games weren't around back then, man.
Right.
So it's just
Yeah,
such a silly thing.
Yeah. There have
And-
been. Go ahead. Keep going.
I was as someone who always thought when I was younger, like, oh, guns are pretty cool, I guess. And then I shot a gun for the first time a couple of years ago, and I was like, man, instead of shotgun in the hand, I was like, these things are scary. I use some other words, but like, these things are intense and not fun. I don't want to be around these things very much at all. So yeah, I think it's definitely has zero to do with video games, and more with on people, and maybe if someone is mentally unstable, just getting them help.
Yeah. It's always the best
Right.
solution.
In the long run, making mental health stuff, like, I'm a strong advocate for mental health for
Mhm.
various reasons, but that's the end thing that's going to be the most effective, I guess, is making sure that mental health is available to everybody. But the big problem with that is, it's going to take some, like, government, it's going to take some government doing, which is already going to make some people,
Angry.
angry. Yeah. And then it's also going to, like, has to be, like, a big change in, like, the stigma.
Yeah.
I mean, there's oh, you're depressed? Well, get over it. Or other people have it better than you. Or, or don't go get medicine or go talk to a therapist, because then, real men don't do that. That kind of stuff. That stigma has to change a bit, because people won't go get help if they think that somehow it's a failure.
Yeah.
It's not cheap either.
No,
Well,
it's
yeah,
not.
and then it also,
Mhm.
I mean, it needs to be available.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, if you don't have insurance or insurance that will pay for it, I mean, it's, 80, 90, $100 a session, and you need, like, a session at least every 2 weeks, probably, unless you're real bad.
Yeah.
God forbid you have to be hospitalized. So, I mean, those kind of things, are, big hurdles towards that. Anything else we do, uh, we can ban the AR-15 or like guns like that, which I think probably needs to be done. But I mean, I also understand why, it won't be. I get it. I mean, it's kind of a cool gun. I'll be
Fair enough.
I'll flat out say it. I mean, it's
Cool.
close to an M16 as you can get, like,
Yeah.
legally.
All right, Bryson, what's kind of your opening statement here for this?
I know video games have been blamed for school shootings, a lot of violence and stuff. I think it's one way politicians use to just take the spotlight off the real problem. I think it's just a great way to blame something that really isn't should be or shouldn't be in the subject at all. So I think a while back the Sandy Hook shooting, they did investigations. There was a politician who thought the cause was violent video games, but the police did investigations into the shooter, and some of his favorite video games was like Dance Dance Marathon, stuff like that, stuff that wasn't violent at all. So I'm definitely against this mentality that video games cause violence. So
yeah. So, like, all right, I want to touch on quite a few things here in this little monologue I'm going to go on. I was going to bring up that, there are tons of studies that show the positive mental health benefits of video games, as brought up by a couple people in the chat here, which, I agree with and everything. I would say that's fair.
It's a good, like, way to blow off steam.
Yeah.
It really is.
We're starting to get to the point in time where people who have been playing video games their entire lives are actually old enough to hold elected office.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a super duper important part also. And then also crap, I just lost that train of thought. But I'm not gonna get into whether or not it's like maybe we should ban certain weapons and whatnot, but definitely, as Bryson brought up, you can blame, a lot of people are just looking for a blame game or whatever. And, every time there's a sort of tragedy that happens, and you most commonly see this particular topic brought up of violent video games when school shootings happen, because at the same time, even though people who play video games are getting older and older, as, they've been around long enough and whatnot, you always see it around school shootings. The first big, like, high-profile time you really saw it was after the Columbine shooting. They tried to place that against video games at the time also.
Yep.
So
it doesn't help that they were like
Doom?
super into Doom. Yeah.
Doom.
Yeah. That doesn't help. But I mean, okay, Doom was an edgy game anyway. Let's be honest.
No, it was.
Yeah.
It was.
I mean, Doom was a pretty edgy game at the time, so there was already a fair bit of controversy around that. But it seems like we get someone who shoots up a movie theater or like a mall or something that they don't really look to video games as the cause. But then a school shooting happens, they assume young person kind of into video games, and then this argument gets brought up time and time again. And like personal anecdote here, like I grew up playing a ton of video games. Some of them were shoot 'em up games, others were light stuff like Legend of Zelda or something like that, which were still cool games, don't get me wrong. But like I couldn't, like, even after playing like Call of Duty or something and whatnot, I couldn't actually tell you how to like load a gun or anything. Like if I would have been
Right.
faced with like a gun in real life or something and been like told load the gun, shoot it type thing, I would know how to pull the trigger, but I wouldn't know how to like properly clear the chamber, stuff like that. That's not something they really teach you. It wasn't until it's like I got quite a bit older and actually looked into how to properly do it, or was instructed how to properly do it and stuff like that.
Right.
So it's not like I definitely don't think video games can train you to do stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing it can do really is like, the only like argument that holds water is that like it desensitizes you to violence. But at the same time, killing another person is, no matter how many like digital people you've killed in your lifetime, it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Actually pointing a gun at a person is completely different than, playing Call of Duty or pointing at like a paper target that is made into a person.
Mm-hmm.
It's killing people in war. Like, I think it still kind of takes some like mental you know, fortitude, I guess, in a war. But like, if you're just going into a school or a mall or a subway or whatever to just kill a bunch of people, you know, that's definitely something in your head.
Yeah.
You know, that's not like, oh, I played Call of Duty for, you know, 20 hours straight for 3 months and, you know, now I want to kill everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean,
You
like,
see what I mean?
yeah, it's not like, or another thing that the media kind of brings into this argument as well is that they try to make fiction, or it's like they try to blur the line between reality and fiction quite a bit,
Right.
or entertainment, so to speak. So it's like, you know, it's super important to remember that, you know, the people you kill in Call of Duty are fake, okay? You know, they're programs. They don't have feelings. They don't actually have lives, you know, stuff like that. It's not hurting anything by destroying enemies in Call of Duty or something. All it is just a program. It definitely hurts if you go and, you know, shoot a real person with a life. And I forget if this was a Supreme Court case or not, but I know of a court case that was talking about The Simpsons, and the court case effectively, like in the ruling, the Simpsons creator basically said, yeah, they just gave human rights to fictional creations, which is really dumb.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, the like topic of regard to that court case is a little bit inappropriate for the rating of this show, so won't get into it. But yeah. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on that. Anyone got more stuff?
I just want to say, like Bryson's thing about it's, you know, a way to take heat off of other things, or, you know, blame something easy. It's also something that, I mean, like a politician or whoever can like cry and scream about, and then when push comes to shove, not do anything about.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a safe topic to blame video games or whatever. Because in the end, I mean, what are they going to do? They're not going to ban video games.
No.
Worst they can do is, you know, try to make mature games unable for children to get, and the Supreme Court's already turned that down. So, I mean, I think there is a good portion of it that is, you know, well, they don't like the guns or the NRA or any of these other things we're doing. Let's say video games because, you know, whatever. What's it going to do? You know,
Yeah.
and it's going to turn the conversation, you know, to that of all things instead, you know, and then eventually it just dies down.
Yeah. It'd be fun
Nothing
to
gets changed.
It'd be fun to see if, like, you know, as being brought up in chat right now, if, you know, politicians actually like play some of the games that they speak out against just on the public face. Because, you know, a lot of politicians will say one thing but then do another type thing.
Oh yeah.
The most common example I got is like, okay, I can't believe I'm about to use Pornhub as a statistical source here, but like I've seen graphs that show so much of Pornhub's traffic coming from members of Congress, and there's a lot more members of Congress that access Pornhub than are in either party as elected officials.
Wow.
So
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were a lot of politicians in the Ashley Madison leak, so
Oh, that's right. I remember that. Okay.
that
Okay.
was some fun times for people.
Yeah. Then okay, Bryson, any?
One thing I want to say is I know like I don't remember the politician's name, but he said something about how video games reward points for killing or raping people, and I don't think he understands. I think that's also another people not understanding what video games are. I know some people don't believe they're an art, which I think they very much are. They're some of them are absolutely beautiful. All of them are really, but I also don't think they understand the concept of video games and what some video games can promote. And by their description, really the only game I could think of that rewards people for doing such gruesome actions is GTA, and even then, it's limited to the player's actions within the game. So that's what I have to say for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Andrew? Any?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's pretty much kind of covered it. I could find an old paper I wrote probably in high school and says these exact same things, you know.
Yeah.
Well, maybe a little different, but
Yeah.
yeah.
And then
It's such a crappy situation.
Yeah, one last little like closing tidbit here. I read an article. This is maybe 2 or 3 years back or something. Some city council in the U.S. was being told they were being presented with military footage, like actual military footage for some like policy, but it turned out to be like footage of Modern Warfare 3 with the HUD cut off and
Oh wow.
Yeah.
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 What was it like? Some sort of North Korean propaganda had something like that,
Yeah, maybe.
where it was like, "This is what American warfare looks like," and it was Modern Warfare 3
Yeah.
footage.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So, well, video games do not cause violence, but they do hold up in court. So,
Yep, it is a First Amendment right.
yeah.
Supreme Court has said so.
All right. So, that's pretty much that topic. The end of the heavy-handed topic. I would really like to have like a lighter-handed topic after this, but we kind of ran through it all. So we're just gonna go into deals. Anthony is usually the one who does this, but I have a little bit of deals for you guys this week. If you're in Australia, the best deal I could find was from EB Games. You can get a 1TB PS4 Pro plus Destiny 2 and Deus Ex Mankind Divided for 559 Australian dollars, which I assume is a good price over there. And what's up?
I know it's like really inflated over there, so I have no.
Yeah, I mean, if you're to convert like just straight, if you were to take
So
the raw
American
number
dollars, yeah.
into US dollars, like 559 for 2 games and a PS4 Pro. I mean, yeah, sure.
I mean, one of those
that's
games is free on PlayStation Plus.
Yes, that was a pro. Tony James asked in the chat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And let's see. If you're in North America, just a couple of game deals for you coming from Amazon. You can get the Mass Effect trilogy for $7.49. That's 3 incredible games. It's not Andromeda. I mean, all these games are good. Okay, all these games are really, really good. Okay, for $7.49, you're gonna like with the amount of hours you'll crank into all 3 of these games. If you were to do like cost per hour, it's going to be fractions of pennies. Yeah, fractions of pennies by the time you calculate it and are done with it. Titanfall 2, $5.
Deal.
That's a great deal. Titanfall 2 still has. This is also on Amazon, and this is for all platforms, by the way, guys. And so go ahead and get that up for $5. Community is still very active on all platforms. I know that very well, and
Very
it is
much
still
It's a really good game too.
yeah, it is a ton of fun to play.
Great
Okay?
single player too.
Yeah.
Great single player. Probably the best single player FPS campaign we've had since Half-Life, I'd say.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Shots fired.
Yeah. I'm calling you out, Gabe Newell. Yeah, so Titanfall 2, $5, pick that up. Or if you're interested in something that's a little bit more modern, fairly recent, you can get Ghost Recon Wildlands, also on Amazon for any platform, for $26.99. All right. So,
It's too bad none of those. It's too bad none of those Australian deals will count because Australia doesn't exist.
yeah, as brought up earlier, Australia is CGI'd onto the flat Earth plane.
Yep.
And yeah.
Okay.
Someone's gonna clip that and it's gonna be horrible and use it against me one day.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway. Andrew, where can we find you on places?
You guys can find me on Twitter, on Instagram, on Twitch at Duronsky. That's DURONSKI. Like I said earlier, I'm gonna be doing a new feature soon for the site. I might live stream that for fun, just to some people watch it at the same time. Keep an eye out for that. I'll probably announce it on my Twitter and Instagram soon.
All right, Bryson.
I will, like I said at the beginning of the podcast, I'll be posting a new article Sunday covering. I forgot the name of it now.
Cyberpunk 20.
Yeah, Cyberpunk 2077. I do a Sunday speculation
That's
piece
it.
on that. I'm going into the details of that, so that'll be posted. Should be tomorrow. Of course, you can find me on Twitter at Heil Bryson. So
All right.
I'll post anything there.
All right, John. How about yourself?
You can find me on Twitter at leftstick. Also, make sure you follow the site's various social media. I'd be a terrible social media manager if I didn't bring those up.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook is at Culture of Gaming. Twitter is at cog.net. DOTNET. There's a funny story behind that, I guess.
Okay.
So follow the site, follow me. I tweet occasionally.
All right. That all for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
There are Instagrams and stuff, but we don't use them that much.
Okay. All right. I'm pretty much only on Twitter. You can find me on Twitter at InforusTaylor. Again, all links to social media will be in the description below this YouTube video when I eventually turn this into a YouTube video. And yeah, Culture of Gaming is on YouTube at youtube.com/cultureofgaming. Twitch.tv/cultureofgaming. You're here now. So make sure you bookmark this channel or whatever you do to keep track of it nowadays. I don't know. Do people still use bookmarks?
They give it a heart, right? Or a like.
Yeah.
Follow?
Yeah. Yeah, you can follow, get notified every time we go live. And let's see, where else are we? Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think John covered most of it. Make sure you guys join the community Discord where you can chat with all of us that were on the show about not only the topics brought up on the show, but also apparently anything you want, including why Australia is a CGI'd country, and so is the moon for that matter. So...
No, the moon's real.
The moon's real?
Yeah, it just goes around the Earth.
Okay.
The sun. They kind of... Yeah.
I see. I always thought the moon was like a hologram or something, man.
No, they're both there.
Okay.
If the Earth is flat, wouldn't the moon be flat?
Yeah, why is the
I mean,
Earth
it's like
flat,
a
but not the moon?
spotlight. Both of them are like a spotlight. They just kind of...
Oh,
Certain
okay.
areas of the Earth just kind of move like that.
Okay.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
So, okay, I can't do this right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to assume you're making some sort of hand motion. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I was just thinking yeah, well, just let's close it.
Okay, yeah, all right.
This is a bad rapid.
We will be here same time next week, same place. Well, hopefully not the same time. Hopefully we'll be on time. But anyway, thank you for watching, and we'll see you all next time.